Well, we want to give you some new information. We now have a new tornado warning. This is just on the very extreme western edge of our viewing area, but we did want to make mention of this. This is Clinton right here. This tornado warning is going to be until 4:45. The concern here is that this whole cluster is going to continue moving east. Now, it does have a bit of a southeast component to it. Brazil is not included in that tornado warning, but it is moving that way. The tornado warning is just shy of the county there. So let me get you in a little bit closer. This is the area that we're talking about. This is Clinton right here. The spin, the area of rotation is right about there and moving to the south and east. So what we're going to be tracking is areas likely just north of West Atherton. This is going to be south of Coxville. As I mentioned, not included within that is Brazil, but I also want to point out there's another little area of spin here near Brazil. This is going to include just south and west of Raccoon, and it's also producing a good bit of very heavy rain. Let me get you back into the radar and show you what we're looking at here. This is the area that has been a strong storm. There was rotation here when this was moving out of Illinois, but there you can see there is a little bit of an appendage that's kind of hanging down here. Sometimes we talk about the hook echo, and you may be able to see a little bit of that. One of the things I want to do is zoom out just a little bit, just so we get a little bit of a better perspective on this and where it's headed, and then we'll do a little bit of storm tracking as well. Let me set the radar into motion. You'll see as this is heading to the south and east, there's the new tornado warning. What we're going to be tracking here is how much of that will head into maybe down into Spencer as well. Eventually it's going to have to move that way as it moves maybe just to the south of Cloverdale. At some point this is going to move across parts of Interstate 70 here. In fact, because I'm here live, I'm not able to do it, but if someone on the assignment desk could get our extra NDOT camera. I know we've got one NDOT over on 70 where they're doing the construction work to try to fix the road, but if we could get something that's just to the east on the east side of Terre Haute, I'd like to have one there just so we can keep an eye on it. Let me get you a little bit more information on this. Let me go in and get a query from what we've been seeing with that warning. I just want to see if there's any new additional information that's going to pop up from that. So there's the radar indicated tornado warning. Now keep in mind, if we do get any confirmation of this being on the ground, this will change to a kind of a pinkish lavender or purple color here. This is going to include Park County, it's going to include Vermilion County and Vigo County. It is just on the extreme southwestern part of our viewing area, Park County, but we want to make sure that folks there are knowing exactly what's going on. I'm just going to step off camera real quick just so I can get an accurate speed on this from the National Weather Service of what they're saying with that tornado warning. It is moving to the south and east. In fact, most of the storms that we've been tracking today have had a little bit of a south component to them, which is good news. We want to make sure that that's the case. And this is moving southeast at about 50 miles per hour. So let me come back and show you a little storm track here to kind of let folks know where this is located, more importantly, where it's headed. So first thing I want to do, I want to stop the radar for you, and then I'm going to do a storm track. So we're talking south and east at about 50 miles per hour. In fact, it looks like maybe that little hook appendage is maybe increasing in intensity a little bit. Again, we're moving south and east at about 50 miles per hour. So we're looking at Friendship Church at about 4 minutes from now. That's going to put it at about 4:34, 4:35. Sandcut 7 minutes from now. Brazil, if it makes it to you, if it holds together, this is going to be 18 minutes from now. And you see center point at 26 minutes. What I want to do right now is I want to get in a little bit closer and just show you where that circulation is located currently. And the reason I want to do that is because I'm hoping that a new scan comes in and we can see a bit of this weaken. What I don't want to see is the additional storminess that's farther to the south and east start to show up a little bit more intensely here. There's also a little bit of spin that's showing up right there. One quick thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to change to this so I can move around the map. And there is a little bit of the spin. So it appears that maybe the storm is a little bit noisy in some of its data. I mentioned that there's also a little bit of spin here near Brazil. Still remains to be the case, but you are not under the tornado warning. Anyone that may be watching from Brazil, or you are under the tornado warning is Clinton, although the new advisory that should come out here within the next, 5 minutes or so, should trim this back a bit. What's been interesting though is there's now a couple of circulations that I've been tracking with this. I'm going to set this into motion just so I can see. In fact, that circulation that had the tornado warning is actually moving much farther to the south than what the National Weather Service has the tornado warning out for. What's interesting to me meteorologically is that I'm seeing a lot of these quick little spin-ups within here. They're very weak, they're very broad, but I hope that does not continue to be the case as this whole complex of thunderstorms keeps pushing to the east. In the meantime, let me also mention that I do have several other severe thunderstorm warnings that we are tracking. One outside of that tornado warning, and especially points to the north, where the strongest of the heavy rain, or the heaviest of the rain I should say, is now going to be pushing into Greencastle, down to Cloverdale, eventually into Spencer as well. But the tornado warning, right now it's just a small warning, and it's going to keep pushing to the east with a good south component to it. And again, part of this may be escaping what we call the polygon, the little box that the National Weather Service draws to put this tornado warning in there. Hopefully, we will not have to deal with much more of this. We'll see if they extend it. I have a feeling that we are going to see a little bit of weakening with this, although I'm starting to get a little bit more concerned about this cell right here. This one has that little bit of a hook appendage where we're seeing the circulation, but this one too remains pretty strong in both its intensity on the reflectivity, how heavily it's raining, but also I did notice there was a little bit of rotation within that. Very quickly, let me just mention down to Spencer because, well, there's the new severe thunderstorm warning that's now been issued. This is now going to include a good portion of the area because they're really warning this entire cell. So you see the new severe thunderstorm warning that's out. It includes all of Putnam County, including Greencastle down to Cloverdale. This is also going to go down to Center Point. Does not quite include Spencer just yet. But if we continue to see this whole cell move east, how much of the western part of the viewing area, of the metro area, will we see go under this severe thunderstorm warning? If you're closer to the airport, if you're closer to, say, Martinsville, if you're over to Danville, good chance that the severe thunderstorm is going to impact you. If you're on the north side, seems unlikely at this point, which is good news because those are the areas that saw the heaviest rain with this recent bout of heavy rain and flooding that came in. In the meanwhile, it's the tornado warning that I'm going to focus on. Let me go back because I should be getting a new scan here just a moment with the new velocities. I just want to see if that rotation has changed at all, any on the appearance. It's very muddy at this point. We still have that little spin there, little minor spin over Brazil. The latest spin that triggered this tornado warning has now pushed a little farther to the south. In fact, I'm going to be curious to see what the National Weather Service is going to do. They may have to redraw this polygon if it holds together that the circulation is starting to get outside of that box. I think that circulation that was in place, in fact, you'll see it get a little bit brighter right about there. Let me actually back the radar up and you'll be able to see that if I just stop the radar momentarily. When I back this up, you'll be able to see right about there. Pretty significant strength to the what we call the couplet here. What I mean by that is the red and green couplet. The two of those together side by side in the right configuration. That's why the tornado warning was issued. And then once it was issued, it looks like it's moved a little farther to the south. I'll keep this going. You can see just south of Clinton. Looks like that red and green couplet is pushed a little farther to the south. And hopefully now, yeah, we've got a new scan that's in place. Again, I'm just looking at this live just as you are. A couple of things I'm noticing. One, the rotation that was here has weakened a good bit. I have a feeling they're going to allow the tornado warning to expire. We'll keep tracking this, but then we'll go back and try to get some additional news in about the ongoing flooding. I'm also starting to see some of these spikes begin to pop back up of some gustier winds. Let me just set this into motion just so I can have my hand tracking back and I can move around the map here. This is the area that we're going to be watching for some really gusty winds pushing maybe into Putnam County. That's why you have the new severe thunderstorm warning that's in place. Let me actually put some information on the screen for you so you can see. We've got 2 severe thunderstorm warnings and a tornado warning. The tornado warning is going to go until 4:45. I have a feeling they will hold this at least for another few minutes or so, but I'm wondering if maybe they're going to allow it to drop. You can see the little appendage here, the hook echo we sometimes call it, is much farther to the south, but it still remains inside that polygon, and there's the new scan that comes through. Heavy rain to the north. I know your eye may be drawn to this, where we may be seeing a little bit of hail, also some gusty winds, but it's not where I think the most intense part of the storm is. I actually think that's a little farther to the south. The other 2 severe thunderstorm warnings warnings. One goes until 4:45, one goes until 5:30. One thing I want to do is I actually want to try to get a little bit more information on this, because that other severe thunderstorm warning, I believe, has a tornado possible tag to it. Yeah, it does. Tornado possible. This is radar indicated. 60-mile-per-hour winds are the concern with the severe thunderstorm warning that now includes from Brazil to Cloverdale to Greencastle. We'll have to watch that one, because these little spin-ups that I've been mentioning are going to be something that we'll likely continue to see show up on radar. I don't see much in the way of rotation here. There's a little bit of noise in the data. If there's anything that we've been tracking, it's going to be about right here, just because it looks that way on the reflectivity, but doesn't look nearly as impressive as it did. This is a very, very quick spin up, and I wouldn't be surprised if the National Weather Service gives this a little bit more time before they finally either cancel this or allow it to expire. The expiration would be 4:45. Just keep that in mind. Farther to the east, again, if you're on the southwest side of the city, you're likely going to deal with another severe thunderstorm warning within the next hour or so. It's going to take some time. Let me put this into motion and you'll see. I'm going to actually step off camera so I can get a speed of the actual severe thunderstorm warning. Bear with me while I do that in one moment, because I think we're going to be able to see a couple of things happen here. One, this severe thunderstorm warning that now is got that tornado possible tagging is going to keep pushing to the east, but there's also a little bit of redevelopment back behind that. We're seeing, or I should say ahead of that, we're seeing a few of the showers and storms start to pop up. They are not severe, but it will certainly be something that we want to make sure we watch. National Weather Service is giving us a southeast at 40, so a little bit slower in some of the speed for the actual line. So here's what we're tracking. There's the severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado possible tagging. We also have the tornado warning that's going to be in place until 4:45. I saw Sean Ash, who's been very busy over the last 3 days, also begin to move in so we can let you know about what's going on. Park County, Vermilion County, and Vigo County. Again, the data here is real messy. It's not a very well-defined spin up here, and I'm encouraged by that. I want to continue to see that remain to be the case. One of the things I do want to do is I just want to give you a little bit of a storm track on this. We're just going to draw a boundary out ahead of this. I am going to try to get a little bit ahead of it, and we're going to go southeast at about 40 miles per hour. I'm going to try to get you a little bit more of a southern view here of it. This is going to put it in Brazil, 4:48. This is going to put it Brick Chapel at 4:56. Greencastle right at the top of the hour is when we're expecting the leading edge of this line. Now I say that, but keep in mind, that's for this part of the storm. As I remove that, you see more storms are developing out ahead of this. So it's not for this line necessarily that I'm tracking. And you do have some rain and potentially some lightning happening right now. I haven't checked on lightning in quite a bit, so let me actually put that up. There's a good bit of lightning north side of this cell. The rotation, if there is any, would be here or maybe even a little further to the south. Let me go to an NDOT camera. Actually, I may be able to pull it up here myself. I believe one is still on the other situation. So yes, here is I-70. This is just to the east of Terre Haute, if I'm not mistaken, and you can of course see some of the dark clouds that continue to push across the city. Thankfully, this is going to be east of Terre Haute, but it is the east side of Terre Haute that we're looking at currently. We want to make sure that we watch any of these areas because that did have a bit of a southern component to it. Again, several things that we're tracking right now. One, we are keeping our eye on the tornado warning, which we have another 4 minutes or so before it expires. There's also this severe thunderstorm warning from this cluster of storms that's going to keep pushing to the west. Then we have all of the river flood warning, which once we have this tornado warning taken care of and we're not dealing with it anymore, we'll get back to some of our reporting of what's been happening with the flooding, because my biggest concern over the next really 12 hours or so is going to be Anderson. That's going to be the White River here in Anderson, because it's not expected to crest until later tonight, and that could be a record crest, the most flooding they've ever seen in Anderson there, potentially with some areas beginning to get inundated and going underwater. In the short term, tornado warning still until 4:45. This is going to include Park County. It is not including Brazil, but Brazil, you are under the severe thunderstorm warning. Let's put this into motion. Let's show you the direction here. Notice how the whole cell is moving east, but it's also starting to redevelop a little farther to the south. This is what we were looking at over Terre Haute. They're now starting to trim back some of the warnings, but they still do have the tornado warning in place for another 2 or 3 minutes or so. I'm actually going to stop this so that won't flash on the screen for those of you that are watching. Cloverdale to Greencastle. And again, there's a little bit of development out ahead of this. The other thing I really want to watch is the other leading edge of this. What could be interesting is that when we do have this part of the storminess that's developing, how will this cluster interact with that as it pushes east? Will we see a little bit more spin show up along that? And Sean, if you do happen to see anything, just let me know if there's anything that pops up that I'm not looking at, especially when it comes to the velocity, which at the moment I'm encouraged by what I'm seeing. There's a couple of pockets of some stronger winds, but nothing right now that's got any major spin to it. It's a little interesting here near Spencer. We'll keep an eye on Owen County. And then again, now moving east of Clinton. So here's the thing. They have discontinued the tornado warning. Looks like they actually canceled it a bit early. There's still some minor spin here in a couple of spots. I'm going to give it just about 30 seconds to make sure the National Weather Service doesn't reissue something out ahead of this. Then I'm going to turn it back over to news, to a break, actually. We're going to toss to break in just a moment here, just to make sure. Yeah, what you got, Sean?
N.2.
N.2, got it.
I have that camera that's in Brazil. You're going to see what looks to me almost like a wall cloud, shelf cloud there.
Yeah. So this is the storm that's moving that way. It is almost upon you in Brazil. You do have a severe thunderstorm warning in place with tornado possible wording. But the good news here is the tornado warning has been allowed to expire. It's actually been canceled earlier. We're going to keep an eye on this. We're going to head to break. We're going to come back. We're going to track more storms. But more importantly, we're going to keep you updated on the ongoing historic flooding across central Indiana.